Hello and welcome to the first Facebook live stream for the Jewellery Quarter. This is where we're going to meet and greet one of the local characters and get to behind the scenes and learn a bit more about everybody here and what makes the Jewellery Quarter what it is today. And I'm Dan Ricardo, and I am here with Steve Quance, a good friend of mine, who I know has been in the quarter and has been in the jewellery game for some time. But how you doing, Steve?
Well done, yeah, thank you.
Good to have you here. Thanks for inviting us into your lovely place and your lovely abode. I thought we might just start. If you told me how on earth you got into the jewellery game.
Yeah, okay, so many years ago, I used to go to work with my dad when I was at school. And my dad worked in a big factory. Never the owner, never the manager. Used to run the factory floor for a lot of the bosses upstairs. And from seeing him work very hard but seeing them get the benefits, I've always wanted to work for myself. I happened to be having a piece of jewellery made at the time. I've been working in the factory about 4 years on and off at school holidays, and I went round to collect this piece of jewellery from my dad's friend. Walked into his office and didn't see the expensive nature of what he was working with, but saw very little tooling, you know, pliers, polishing motor, things like that in quite a small area, and thought to myself, that's something I could start off with fairly early on in life. You know, my dad had already put it off because the factory unit was very expensive, you know, very expensive business to be in. So I got in the car that night, went when we were going home, and said to my dad, I want to be a jeweller. I was 14, 15 years old.
And how does that process take place? And from having a sort of a dream of becoming a jeweller, how easy was it to become
well,
a real thing?
I left school and I got into the jewellery college just down the road here.
That's still there, isn't it?
Yeah. I didn't last very long there. I was very fortunate to get offered an apprenticeship, and I went to work for a very dear friend of mine. He became over the years. A guy called Bob Wee-Way, and a guy called Mike Welsh taught me. So I sat next to him like the little protege and learnt about the business. Mike knew of my desire to work for myself very, very early on. And many years ago, they used to stick postcards in the newsagent's window up there. And there happened to be a jeweller's in Warsaw looking for a guy to work above them as their jeweller. Mike had given me the confidence to go for that. He would back me if I ever got stuck with anything. And off I went at the age of 19 with a Prince's Trust grant at that time to start off my own business.
Very good. And how long have you been in the game? If you don't mind me asking?
30, coming up to 31 years, 30 years.
Impressive. You don't look old enough. But,
thank you.
That's good going, mate, so you must enjoy it. And today, I mean, what is it that you offer your customers and your clients?
Well, the pinnacle, or I thought what the pinnacle was to be for me, was to have a shop. So 15 odd years ago, I got my first shop, which was fabulous. And then the world changed, and you could buy things on your phone at the touch of a button, and it was very price-led. And I found it very difficult to compete with people that had done their research online and were comparing online prices with retail outlet prices. So unfortunately, I lost the shop in 2011 due to the tough times and recession, etc. But it was a blessing in disguise. I came away from the high street and set up what I still see in the market as a gap in the market as a personal jeweller. So I don't sit behind a counter dragging you in from the street and hoping to get your sale because I've got all the overheads around me. And I don't sit behind a screen and parcel up something and send it you out very impersonally. I just sit in front of people with no pressure, give them 30 years of my experience and advice, and try and make something that becomes very, very personal to them.
And jewellery pieces that are going to last. It's not just for weddings, is it? You do all sorts.
No. Anniversaries, birthdays, push presents.
Yeah.
You know, all sorts of items.
Most of the people, if you know the Jewellery Quarter, is probably the best place to come if you can get the best value jewellery anywhere. But a lot of people aren't out there to get the best buy or the best prices for jewellery. They want jewellery that's personal to them, that's going to last. So what kind of customers do you sort of attract?
No job is too small. I've had students sit where you are. It's the right time in their life. They're not out there earning a wage. So they have a very minimal budget, but they feel as though they want to, you know, start a relationship, and that way is to get down on one knee and propose. So I've made engagement rings from as little as £200-300, right up to people within the public eye that I'm very fortunate to have a couple of close friends that are agents and work with people that you would know. It doesn't mean because they're earning a lot of money that they want to spend a lot of money, because a lot of them just want the basic wedding band and etc. But so my broad spectrum of clients is right across the board. Yeah.
Yeah, and you touched on it there, and I have heard sort of a number of names from various people about the kind of clientele that you have in the past. And I've just come in and I've seen a whole bunch, a big pile of Hello magazines. Can you mention a few of the people that might have actually been featured in there that are wearing your jewellery?
Yeah, well, I was, as I said, very fortunate to know a couple of agents that have passed their clients to me. So most recently I worked with Calvin Fletcher, who was aka Andy Sugden in Emmerdale.
Yeah, well, big star, that guy.
Yeah, very, very nice guy. Elizabeth, his now wife, very, very nice people. I worked with a lady called Emma Noble on her second wedding, and she happened to be covered in Hello and mentioned me. We've worked with Fabrice Mwamba, who once he had that terrible incident on the football pitch, he felt as though, you know, that was an awakening for him, obviously, and I was amazed to meet a walking miracle, and also then to be involved within his wedding. And then Theo and Melanie, so Theo Walcott. Yeah, so I was very privileged to meet the Walcott family when they when Sven took him to Germany many years ago, and I happened to be in Germany, and then that progressed into a sort of friendship, which then involved me supplying his wedding rings. Yeah.
That's impressive. As a gooner myself, I'm pretty
jealous.
Oh,
are you an Arsenal fan?
I'm afraid, yeah. But I mean, you've been here for 31 years in the Jewellery Quarter. Obviously, we're going to round it up now. But can you think of any way in which the Jewellery Quarter or the trade or the business has changed over those years?
Well, it's very recently I've been revamping a couple of my websites, and I had a catalogue of pictures, which I think there was 237 pictures from when I had the shops. I could use, after going through them all, roughly 27 of those 237. I was amazed, because when you're in it all the time, you don't realise how styles have changed. But I was amazed to find that the styles had changed, and I couldn't use a lot of the jewellery pictures that I had from years ago because they weren't relevant for now. Obviously, the area has changed dramatically. It's a lot more residential. There's a lot more people living here, so there's a lot more eateries, bars, etc. But it gives a bit more of a fantastic vibe about the place. You know, there's a buzz about the place again, which obviously extends into the high street, and hopefully then, you know, people do well around here.
Yeah, and I think in this day and age, as you're quite right, with the online business, with big kind of corporate brands across the country, it's nice to have the jewellery quarter with independent retailers and obviously yourselves and businesses and the kind of service that you're offering. It kind of differentiates us from everybody else out there. Hopefully that draws people to the area. So that's going to round it up. So thank you very much for watching today. If people do want to get a hold of you and obviously have to, have a special piece of jewellery made, how would they get a hold of you?
Well, I trade under the name of Stephen Charles Quance. So there's Facebook, there's Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms. You can get my mobile number from those. I much prefer a phone conversation. It's a bit more personal. You can understand what the person wants straight away rather than trying to predict through an email, etc. But any way, email's fine if that's how they want to start.
Yeah, and where we're located at the moment is on Wallstone Lane, in the centre of the jewellery quarter, where you have your own sort of private sort of abode, your sort of suite here that you've got. You can have sort of a good chat and get to know your customers better and provide what they need. So, Steve, I appreciate your time today. Being the first of our many meet and greets on a Friday for the jewellery quarter. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
We'll see you again, no doubt.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you all again soon. Thank you.